Bitcoin is too volatile is wrong, and here is why. Bitcoin's volatility is a mirage. It feels chaotic because we measure it in dollars or other fiat currencies, creating a skewed perception driven by market participants, understanding or lack thereof. The reality? Long-term holders are growing daily, pushing Bitcoin's floor price to unprecedented heights. Yet, the price remains at the mercy of newcomers, those who stumble into the market without grasping Bitcoin's essence. This dynamic makes Bitcoin appear wildly unstable when viewed through the lens of fiat. But step back and examine Bitcoin on its own terms on-chain. It's a paragon of stability. Every 10 minutes, like clockwork, it forges new blocks, advancing with a predictable supply insurance curve, governed by precise market dynamics and the ingenious difficulty adjustment that calibrates the hash rate. The notion that you can live on a risk-free life is a comforting illusion, but it's just that. An illusion. Risk is woven into the fabric of existence. You face it when you drive to the store, board a plane, or even drift off to sleep, knowing your home could, in theory, go up in flames. We exist in a dark forest of infinite uncertainties, swimming in a sea of chaos and volatility. It's unsettling, so we cling to the false promise of stability, convincing ourselves that we can shield ourselves from the storm. Consider a traditional job. Your salary caps your upside, but the downside? Unlimited. You could be let go at any moment. Contrast that with entrepreneurship, where the downside remains vast. You could lose everything, but the upside is equally boundless. To truly live, you must embrace this chaos, this volatility, this risk. Michael Saylor, speaking of MicroStrategy stock, coined the phrase volatility is vitality.
Volatility is not risk. Volatility is a measure of risk, but it turns out that if you calculate volatility of LeBron James on a basketball court, he's the most volatile player. He's also the best player in the world. The winner, the superstar, is the volatile one. If you look at the volatility of Tom Brady, he's the most volatile player on the court or on the field. He's also the best player on the field and the most important player on the field. The winning team is always the most volatile. In fact, the winning everything in every field, art, music, war, Julius Caesar was volatile. Alexander the Great was volatile. Generally, the thing that's actually acting, right? If you're in a boxing ring, the fighter that's actually throwing the most punches is probably the most volatile and is also the winner. So the only reason Bitcoin is volatile for the past 12 months, by the way, is it keeps going up. If you look at it and you go, oh, well, it's volatile. Well, it's volatile because volatility measures the rate at which something doubles too. And if it doubles and doubles, and if I give you the asset and I said, well, Michael, this is going to double every year, every 6 months for the rest of eternity, it will be, by definition, the most volatile, defined by volatility metrics. Are you going to run from it or toward it?
Think of the hero in your favorite film, embarking in an epic quest. They face moments where all seems lost, where failure and ruin loom large, yet they push through. That story encapsulates us, resonating across cultures because it mirrors the human spirit. But in our own lives, we shy away from the hero's path. A true hero stares into the abyss, confronts the void, and presses forward. That's the only way to live. Most, however, see this approach as reckless, even irresponsible. I couldn't agree more. Bitcoin, like life, demands we embrace the uncertainty, not shrink from it.